Jason Adewale stared out the penthouse window, the glittering lights of Lagos dancing in the glass of scotch in his hand. 32, charming, and the billionaire heir to the sprawling Adewale Group empire. On paper, he had everything, but wealth, Jason had come to learn, was a magnet for the wrong kind of attention. Every woman he'd dated in the last 5 years had one thing in common. They saw the fortune first, not the man. The latest breakup wasn't even dramatic. Just another text, another mask slipping. "You'll still cover my rent, right?" she'd asked. He hadn't replied. His father, Chief Adewale, had summoned him that morning with a familiar growl. "This company needs your leadership, and you need a wife. You're not getting any younger, Jason." Jason laughed bitterly now, the sound hollow in his throat. "Marry? With what?" Another gold digger. Another woman who'd love the billionaire, but never see the man beneath? Unless he flipped the script. A plan sparked a life in his mind. What if he became invisible? Not literally, but close. What if he worked at the bottom of the very company he was born to inherit? Not as the CEO's son, but as a poor, nameless security guard. He'd find someone real that way. Someone who didn't know his last name meant money. Jason smiled for the first time in days. He'd give them Jason, the man, not the billionaire. Let's see who would still care when all the gold was stripped away. The sun hadn't even risen when Jason, now going by JJ, stepped through the side gate of the Adewale Group headquarters. Gone were the tailored suits and designer watches. In their place, a stiff, oversized security uniform that smelled faintly of mothballs and boots half a size too tight. He shifted uncomfortably, adjusting the faded cap that hid his face. This was it, the start of his undercover life. The front desk barely spared him a glance. "New guard? Post B, main gate. Move fast." Jason blinked. No greeting. No handshake. Just orders. At first, he thought it would be easy. Stand, observe, blend in. But by the third hour under the scorching Lagos sun, his back ached, his shirt clung with sweat, and his legs throbbed. Billionaire legs. He realized bitterly, were not built for standing 12 hours straight. "First day, huh?" A raspy voice chuckled beside him. Jason turned to see an older man, dark-skinned with silver hair and laughter in his eyes. "Name's Babatand. Stick with me, rookie. You'll survive." Jason offered a tired grin. "JJ, thanks." Babatand became his guide. Through the company's hierarchy, the rhythm of shifts, the politics of invisible workers. With every story, every shared sachet of pure water, Jason found himself drawn deeper into a world he'd never seen. A world his own company depended on, but never noticed. He started questioning things. Why did the guards get paid so little? Why were they treated like furniture? And somewhere deep inside, Jason began to change. Jason was manning the lobby entrance when he first saw her. Amaka. She moved through the glass doors like she belonged in a movie. Confident, graceful, effortlessly elegant in a simple cream blouse and navy skirt. Her natural curls bounced with each step, her eyes sharp but warm. Jason caught himself staring just a moment too long and quickly looked away, pretending to check his duty log. "New guard?" she asked as she approached the security desk, her voice smooth with a hint of playfulness. He nodded. "Yes, ma. First week." Her smile reached her eyes. "No need for, ma. I'm a Maka. Welcome." Before he could respond, a sharply dressed junior manager brushed past, muttering, "Don't waste your time being polite to the help. A Maka. These ones come and go." Jason stiffened, swallowing the heat rising in his chest. But before he could say a word, a Maka's voice cut through the air, calm but firm. "Respect is free, Deo. Try using some." Deo blinked, caught off guard, and walked off with a scoff. Jason looked at her, surprised. She turned back to him with an apologetic shrug. "Don't mind him. Some people think job titles define worth." Jason chuckled softly. "Thanks for that." "No problem. JJ. Right." He nodded again, watching as she disappeared into the elevator. He felt something, just a flicker, not just attraction. Something else. She'd stood up for him, not because she knew who he really was, but because it was the right thing to do. Now, he really wanted to know her. At first, it was small moments. Jason would open the door for Amaka in the mornings or help her carry heavy HR files up to the 5th floor when the elevator decided to break down. Again, she started greeting him with that radiant smile, sometimes handing him a meat pie or jollof rice in a disposable pack. "You look like you haven't eaten," she'd say, pretending it was nothing. But Jason knew it was something. They began eating together during lunch breaks in the shade behind the building, far from the judging eyes of office gossipers. Amaka would talk, and Jason would listen. Really listen. She told him how she'd grown up in Enugu with big dreams but little opportunity. How she had a sketchbook filled with designs, bold, colorful, distinctly African, but no money to bring them to life. One day, she sighed, designs will be on runways across Nigeria, maybe even London. Jason's heart tightened. Why not now? She laughed. Because fabric costs money, JJ. So do sewing machines. So does life. He itched to say, I could fund all of it today, but he bit his tongue. That wasn't why he was here. You'll get there, he said instead. Your ideas are powerful. Don't stop. Her eyes lit up like someone had finally seen her. Not the assistant, the visionary. And with each conversation, Jason fell deeper, drawn to her mind, her strength, her spirit. But every time she asked personal questions, he sidestepped them carefully, weaving half-truths. He wasn't lying to hurt her. He just wasn't ready. Because if she found out who he really was, would she still look at him the same way? He didn't know. And that terrified him more than anything. Jason adjusted his tuxedo in the hotel mirror, the sharp edges of his billionaire identity cutting back into place. Tonight, he wasn't JJ the security guard. He was Jason Adewale, keynote speaker at one of Africa's biggest tech summits. Cameras, flashing lights, interviews, everything he'd once thrived on, but now felt like a costume. He stepped onto the stage to a wave of applause. His presentation dazzled. AI integration in African startups, but his mind was somewhere else. With Amaka, with the quiet laughter they shared behind the office, with the fear that all of this might come crashing down. During the cocktail hour, almost did. A voice called out, too familiar. Omo, Jason Adewale? You! Jason turned slowly. It was one of the junior marketing analysts from Adewale Group. His heart skipped. He smiled quickly, voice low. You must be mistaking me for someone else. The analyst laughed, unsure, blinking in confusion. Jason used the moment to excuse himself and vanish into the crowd. Close. Too close. Back at home, Chief Adewale wasn't buying Jason's vague excuses anymore. You disappeared odd hours, you missed board meetings, and now you're sneaking around like a criminal. What are you hiding, Jason? Jason stared at his father. He couldn't explain. Not yet. Lying had never been this hard. Living two lives, billionaire by night, guard by day, was stretching him thin. And for what? A chance at real love? He wanted to believe it was worth it. But doubt was creeping in, and it was getting louder. Cunnel, with his overconfident swagger and loud cologne, had always believed he was the most eligible bachelor on the floor. When he noticed Amaka laughing with JJ by the staff canteen one afternoon, something shifted in his expression. Curiosity laced with envy. He made his move the next day, strolling up to her desk with 2 steaming cups of cappuccino and a forced smile. You deserve better company than security guards. Amaka, people are starting to talk. She blinked, caught off guard. People? You know how this place is, he said, leaning in. They say you've been spending a lot of time with JJ. Doesn't look good. Amaka laughed it off, but later that day, the whisper started. Quiet glances in the elevator. A pause in conversations when she walked by. The kind of gossip that stuck to your skin. Jason noticed a shift immediately. She still smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Their lunches became shorter. The lightness between them grew heavier. I don't care what people say, he said one afternoon. But she hesitated. Maybe you should. We live in 2 different worlds. JJ, and people can be cruel. He felt something closing between them, and for the first time, he couldn't fix it with words. The sky cracked open with thunder just as Jason and Amaka stepped out of the office. Within seconds, the Legos downpour soaked the pavement. She squealed as fat drops hit her shoulders, and he grabbed her hand, pulling her under the nearest almond tree. They stood close, barely inches apart, breathless and laughing. "You always have a perfect escape route," she teased, wiping water from her face. "Only for people worth rescuing," he replied, eyes locked on hers. The rain muffled the world around them, wrapping them in a bubble of quiet. Their laughter faded, and something else crept in, something heavier. "I haven't laughed like this in years," she said softly. "Why?" Jason asked, voice low. "Life's been calculated. Dreams on hold. Always proving something to someone." Jason hesitated, then spoke. "I get that more than you know." Amaka turned to him, curious. "You talk like someone who's lived 2 lives." Jason's heart pounded. "If only you knew. I've just seen both sides of people," he said. "And it makes you question everything." Their eyes held for a moment too long. Slowly, instinctively, they leaned in. The world faded. Their lips nearly met. But Amaka froze. She pulled back, breath shaky. "I don't even know who you are." "JJ." "Not really." Jason's chest tightened. "Amaka, I need air," she whispered, stepping back into the rain. He watched her walk away, raindrops masking the ache in his throat. She was slipping through his fingers, and the truth still held him back. Kunnel's suspicion had grown into obsession. There was something off about JJ, too well-spoken, too polished for a security guard. So that evening, instead of heading home, Kunnel hung back and followed him from a distance. JJ moved with ease through the side streets, oblivious. But when he stopped beside a sleek black Mercedes-Benz and the driver stepped out with respectful, "Good evening, sir," Kunnel's jaw dropped. "Sir?" He fumbled for his phone and snapped a picture just as Jason, no longer the humble guard, slipped into the back seat like a man born to it. By morning, the photo had made its silent rounds. No one dared say a word, but the shift was palpable. Eyes lingered. Whispers hummed behind backs. Amaka didn't meet JJ's gaze. She brushed past him in the hallway, ignoring his greeting. Finally, she cornered him in the empty break room. "I saw the photo," she said, her voice ice cold. "Luxury car. Personal driver. You lied, JJ. Or whatever your name is. Who are you really?" Jason opened his mouth, ready to confess, to explain everything. But his phone buzzed violently in his pocket. He glanced down. A message from the executive assistant. "Emergency. Your father collapsed in the boardroom. It's critical." His stomach dropped. Amaka watched him, hurt hardening into something deeper. "Well," she asked, voice tight. Jason's fingers tightened around the phone. One step toward her meant coming clean. One step toward the door meant leaving her behind. He stood frozen, torn, caught in a moment that could change everything. To be continued. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter of this unforgettable story. You won't want to miss what happens next.